Before we begin, I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now. Close the other tabs. Put down your phone for a second. Or rather, hold it tighter, because what I'm about to share with you might be the most important thing you've heard all year. Not because it's dramatic, not because it's designed to scare you, but because it's the truth that most doctors don't have time to tell you in a 15-minute appointment, and that most people over 60 are living with right now, completely unaware. What if I told you that your heart has been sending you messages for months, maybe even years, and you've been dismissing every single one of them? Not because you're careless, not because you don't love your health, but because these signals are so quiet, so easy to explain away, that they slip right through the cracks of a busy life, a tired mind, and a body you've learned to push through. The majority of people will never understand this. They'll wait for the loud warning, the dramatic chest-clutching moment from the movies, and they'll miss the 7 soft whispers that come before it. The subtle language your heart speaks when it's struggling, when it's asking for help, when it's trying to reach you before it's too late. And here's the thing nobody talks about enough. Your heart didn't choose an easy life. It chose you. It has been beating for you, without a single break, without a single day off, since before you even took your first breath. It has carried you through grief and joy, through stress and celebration, through every decade of your life. It is the most loyal biological partner you will ever have. And right now, if you're over 60, it may be speaking to you in a language you haven't been taught to understand. By the end of this video, your relationship with your heart will never be the same. The way you look at your body, your daily habits, your energy levels, it will all shift. And I want to promise you something. Point number 3 is the one that changes everything. Most cardiologists consider it the most overlooked sign in seniors, and most people, when they hear it, whisper, "I've been feeling that for years." So stay with me. Every point matters. But that one, don't you dare skip it. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do it right now. Because every single week we bring you the kind of heart knowledge that translates into real, lasting years added to your life. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and let's begin. The first sign, the fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. Here's what most people do. They get tired, they go to sleep, they wake up, and they're still tired, and they blame it on age. I'm over 60, this is just how it feels now. They drink an extra cup of coffee, they push through. They tell their family they're fine. But here's the biological reality that changes everything. When your heart is struggling to pump blood efficiently, a condition that can begin quietly, years before any formal diagnosis, your muscles and organs simply don't receive the oxygen they need. Your body is running on a dimmer switch. The scientific term for this mechanism involves what cardiologists call reduced cardiac output. And in its early stages, it doesn't feel like a heart problem at all. It feels like fatigue. Persistent, deep, unexplainable fatigue that no amount of rest seems to touch. This is your heart's first whisper. It's not screaming. It's not collapsing. It's quietly pulling resources, trying to maintain balance, while gently telling you, something is different. Something needs attention. The shift in perspective here is profound. That tiredness you've been calling laziness, that heaviness you've been apologizing for at family dinners, it may not be weakness. It may be your most loyal organ asking for help in the only language it has available to it in this early stage. Here's your practical exercise. For the next 7 days, keep a simple fatigue journal. Every morning, rate your energy on a scale from 1 to 10 before you've had coffee or food. Write down 2 words that describe how your body feels when you wake up. If your number stays below 6 for 5 or more days, and if words like heavy, foggy, or drained keep appearing, that is data. That is biological communication. Take that journal to your doctor. Show them the pattern. Don't minimize it. Don't say, "I'm just tired." Say, "This is what my body has been telling me and I'm choosing to listen." Your heart has been whispering. It's time to start writing down what it says. The second sign, shortness of breath. During activities that used to feel easy. Most people notice this and immediately create a story around it. I'm just out of shape. I gained a few pounds. It's the humidity today. I'm not as young as I used to be. They pause at the top of the stairs, catch their breath, and keep moving, never connecting that moment to anything cardiac. But science tells a different story. The left ventricle of your heart is responsible for pumping oxygenated blood throughout your entire body. When its efficiency begins to decline, even slightly, your lungs have to work harder to compensate. They begin to hold more fluid. They become, in essence, overworked partners trying to cover for a colleague who's quietly struggling. This is why breathlessness during mild exertion, walking to the mailbox, carrying groceries, climbing one flight of stairs, can be one of the earliest indicators of left ventricular dysfunction in adults over 60. Here is where the emotional shift happens. That moment when you stopped halfway up the stairs and grabbed the railing, your heart wasn't failing you. It was communicating with you. It was creating a signal specific enough, undeniable enough, that even a busy person would have to notice. It chose that moment. It found that crack in your routine where you would finally have to slow down. That is not weakness. That is your heart's deep biological intelligence, speaking directly to your awareness. Your practical exercise is this. Choose a route you walk regularly, around the block, down your hallway, up your stairs. Walk it at your normal pace. And this week, simply notice. Notice where you pause. Notice when your breathing changes. Notice if there's a specific threshold, a specific point, where the effort suddenly feels disproportionate to the activity. Don't judge it. Don't explain it away. Just map it. Your body has a geography of effort, and mapping that geography is the beginning of real cardiac self-awareness. Every breath your heart gives you is a deposit. Learn to notice when the deposits change in size. The third sign, the one that changes everything, swelling in the ankles and feet, especially toward the end of the day, stop. This is the one I promised you, and I need you to receive it with the seriousness it deserves, because out of every sign on this list, this is the one that is most universally present, most universally dismissed, and most universally misunderstood. Most people over 60 who have ankle swelling say the same things. It's because I was on my feet all day. It's because of the heat. My doctor said it's just water retention. And sometimes, those explanations are accurate. But here is what the science of heart failure reveals in its earliest, most treatable stages. When the right side of your heart is not pumping efficiently enough, blood begins to back up in your venous system, the network of vessels that returns blood from your body back to your heart. Gravity pulls that backed up fluid downward, into the lower extremities, into your ankles, into your feet, into the spaces between your cells. This is called peripheral edema, and in senior populations it is one of the most reliable early indicators of right-sided cardiac dysfunction, which, left unaddressed, can progress into what medicine calls congestive heart failure. And here is the emotional truth that will stay with you long after this video ends. Your ankles swelled because your heart was overflowing. Not metaphorically, literally. It was holding more than it could process, more than it could move forward efficiently, and the excess had nowhere to go but down. Your heart was carrying too much, and it needed you to notice. How many evenings have you looked down at your swollen feet and thought, I'll just put them up, they'll be fine by morning? How many times did your heart send you that signal, and you answered it with a footstool instead of a phone call to your doctor? This is not a reprimand. This is an awakening. Your practical exercise is urgent and specific. Tonight, before bed, press one finger firmly into the skin just above your ankle bone. Hold it for 5 full seconds. Release. If a visible indentation remains, a small pit in the skin that takes a few seconds to fill back in, that is called pitting edema. That is a clinical sign. Take a photo of it. Note whether it happens only occasionally or several times a week. Note whether it's in one ankle or both. And make an appointment with your doctor this week. Not next month, not when you have time, this week. Your heart chose to pass its whole life with you. The least you can do is show up for this conversation. And if this is the first time someone has connected these dots for you, if you just had that quiet moment of recognition, Please share this video, not because of the numbers, but because somewhere in your life, there is someone over 60 who is looking at their swollen feet every night and calling it nothing. You might save their life by pressing share. The fourth sign, heart palpitations, but not the dramatic kind. Let's be clear about what most people expect from palpitations. They expect something they can't ignore, a racing heart, a pounding in the chest that makes them sit down and grip the nearest table. And yes, those exist. But that's not what we're talking about here. The palpitations that hide in plain sight are far more subtle. A brief flutter while you're reading, a strange skipped beat when you stand up from a chair, a sensation in your chest for just 2 or 3 seconds that makes you think, was that something? Before you decide it probably wasn't and go back to your day. From a cardiac electrophysiology perspective, these moments can represent what are called premature atrial contractions, PACs, or premature ventricular contractions, PVCs. In isolation and at low frequency, they are often benign. But in adults over 60, they can also serve as early indicators of atrial fibrillation, a rhythm disorder where the upper chambers of the heart quiver instead of beat, which is responsible for approximately 1/3 of all strokes in seniors. The emotional reframe is this: your heart is a rhythm. Not just metaphorically, it is literally a rhythm, an electrical rhythm, a biological song that plays continuously. When that rhythm changes even briefly, even softly, it's not a glitch. It's a variation, and variations, in music and in medicine, carry meaning. Your heart is improvising in a way it hasn't before, and that deserves your attention. Your practical exercise: download a free heart rhythm tracking app. There are several that use your phone's camera to provide a rough photoplethysmography reading. Or if you have access to an Apple Watch or another wearable with ECG capability, use it. For the next 2 weeks, check your rhythm twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. If you notice irregularity 3 or more times in a week, that pattern is the information your cardiologist needs. Bring it to them. Your heart has a song. Learn to listen when it changes key. The fifth sign, persistent coughing or wheezing without a cold. Most people reach for the cough drops. They blame the air conditioning, the dust, the dry weather, the air quality. They take an allergy pill. They wait for it to pass. Weeks go by, sometimes months, and the cough stays. Low grade, persistent, unremarkable, and no one connects it to the heart. But here's the cardiac mechanism behind it. When the left side of the heart struggles to clear blood efficiently, fluid can accumulate in the lungs, a condition called pulmonary congestion. This fluid irritates the bronchial passages and triggers a cough reflex. In some cases, people cough up a white or slightly pink-tinged mucus. In others, the cough is dry and persistent. Either way, the lungs are responding to a problem that originates in the heart. This is the emotional transformation in this sign. Your body created a bridge. A cough, one of the most visible, undeniable, socially noticeable symptoms a human being can have, became the messenger for a problem happening deep inside your chest cavity. Your heart found a way to make itself heard through a symptom you couldn't easily dismiss. It wasn't random. It was intelligent. It was your heart using the loudest voice it could find. Your practical exercise. If you have had a cough lasting more than 3 weeks without a clear respiratory infection, no fever, no cold, no confirmed allergy, add that cough to your next doctor's visit agenda. Don't let it be the afterthought. Don't say it at the end when you're already putting your coat on. Make it the first thing you mention. Say, I've had a persistent cough for several weeks and I want to make sure we rule out any cardiac involvement. Those words will immediately shift the clinical conversation in the right direction. Your heart found a voice. Now use yours. The sixth sign, dizziness or lightheadedness. When standing up, most people over 60 have experienced this. You rise from a chair or from bed, and for a brief moment, the world tilts. The room goes slightly gray at the edges. You grab something, a wall, a chair, a door frame, and in a few seconds it passes. Most people chalk it up to getting up too fast. Many don't even mention it to their doctors. But there's a cardiovascular mechanism here that deserves respect. What many people experience is a phenomenon called orthostatic hypotension, a rapid drop in blood pressure when moving from lying or sitting to standing. In seniors, this can be a sign that the heart is not responding quickly enough to the sudden demand for increased output, or that the autonomic nervous system's communication with the heart is experiencing degradation. It can also be a side effect of certain heart medications. But it's critical that your doctor knows it's happening, regardless of cause. Here is the emotional depth. Every time you grabbed that wall to steady yourself, your heart was in the middle of a rapid recalibration, trying to catch up with your movement, trying to send blood to your brain quickly enough. That grab of the wall was a collaboration. Your environment and your body, together, compensating for a system under pressure. You weren't being dramatic. You were surviving a microsecond of cardiac lag, and you deserve to know that. Your practical exercise. For 1 week, rate every episode of lightheadedness on standing. Note the time of day, what you had been doing before, and whether you'd eaten or drunk water recently. If you experience this more than 3 times in a week, and especially if you experience a moment where you nearly fell, that information is clinically significant. Bring it to your doctor, write it down. It matters. The 7th sign, sudden changes in mental clarity or memory. Brain fog. That wasn't there before. This is the sign people are most likely to minimize, most likely to attribute to aging, and most likely to keep entirely to themselves out of fear of what it might mean. But here is what cardiac science reveals. The brain is the most blood-hungry organ in the human body. It consumes approximately 20% of your total cardiac output at any given moment. When the heart's pumping efficiency declines, even subtly, the brain is among the first organs to register the deficit. Reduced cerebral perfusion can manifest as difficulty concentrating, short-term memory lapses, increased confusion, and what patients often describe as a sense of mental heaviness or slowness that wasn't present before. This is not early dementia in every case. This is not inevitable cognitive decline in every case. Sometimes it is your heart speaking through your brain. It is a systemic shortage of oxygen being announced through your most conscious, most aware, most terrified organ. Your brain is sounding an alarm, and the alarm wears the face of forgetfulness. The emotional reframe is this: that moment when you walked into a room and forgot why you came. Your heart may have been part of that moment, not as a failure, but as a communicator, as a system under strain sending ripples through your body's most sensitive instruments. And that reframe changes everything, because it means the answer might not be mental at all. It might be cardiovascular. It might be solvable. Your practical exercise. Have a conversation with your doctor specifically about your cognitive changes in the context of cardiovascular health. Ask to have your cardiac output assessed. Ask whether a referral to a cardiologist is appropriate. And do not let the fear of the answer keep you from asking the question. Your brain and your heart have been partners for 6, 7, 8 decades. They deserve the chance to be evaluated together. Let me bring you back now to where we began. 7 signs, 7 whispers. Not tasks, not checkboxes. Think of each one as a deposit in the account of trust between you and your heart. Every time you pay attention, every time you write down your energy level, press your finger above your ankle, notice your breathing on the stairs, make the appointment you've been putting off, you are making a deposit. You are saying, to the organ that has never once stopped working for you, I hear you. I see you. I'm here. Your heart didn't choose an easy assignment. It didn't choose short hours or simple work. It chose you, with all your decades, all your complexity, all your beautiful hard-earned life. And it has shown up every single second of every single day without asking for anything in return except, perhaps, this: your attention, your willingness to listen, your courage to act on what you hear. The health of your heart is not measured only in cholesterol numbers or blood pressure readings. It is measured in the depth of the conversation you're willing to have with your own body. And today, because you stayed until the end? That conversation has already begun. You now know what most people will never take the time to understand. You know the 7 silent signs. You know the science. You know the emotional truth underneath each one. And most importantly, you know that what you do with this knowledge in the next 24 hours might be the most important cardiac choice you make this year. Don't scroll past the sign up button. Subscribe to this channel right now because next week, we're going deeper into the foods that quietly strengthen or weaken your cardiac muscle over time, the habits that protect your heart's electrical system, and the one morning practice that cardiologists say is worth more than most supplements combined. Your heart has been talking. Share this video with someone you love who is over 60, not because it's content, because it might be the conversation that changes everything.